So it's time for your parents to move to assisted living. That can be a difficult conversation to have. Today is Thursday, February 20th. From Ave Maria Radio, this is Michigan Mornings. Good morning from Ishpeming. I'm Matthew Handley. Let's begin with the news. We begin with a brief update on Pope Francis. The Holy See Press Office says he is showing, quote, slight improvement as he continues his stay in the hospital. The Holy Father has continued to ask for prayers. Here in Michigan, Grand Blanc police are investigating threats made to Grand Blanc High School yesterday, which prompted a lockdown and early dismissal. Police Chief Brian Leip said a call came in around 8:30 a.m. saying a bomb had been planted at the school and that someone would come to shoot it up.
The initial response, securing the grounds and securing the building, getting the kids in lockdown, making sure they were safe, I think went really well.
That audio courtesy of WNEM-TV. Chief Leip says they do not believe the threat was credible and are investigating whether the call was made by someone locally. A federal judge is declining a request from 14 attorneys general, including Michigan's Dana Nessel, to temporarily ban Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing data and firing workers at 7 federal agencies. NBC News' Garrett Hake reports the judge said the AGs hadn't provided specific examples of how states would suffer irreparable harm.
The judge adding the states did legitimately call into question what appears to be the, quote, unchecked authority of an unelected individual.
The states had argued that the power granted to Musk and Doge by President Trump is unconstitutional. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan wants the nearly 400 homes that were flooded by a water main break on Monday to be inspected immediately. He says getting the inspections done right away will allow for contractors to start making repairs next week.
Gary Brown and the Detroit Water and Sewer Department will have emergency contracts in place to start to do the repairs by Monday. These are the people who will drain your basement, who will repair or replace your furnace, who will clean it.
There are 72 homes without power, 174 without heat, and 190 that have flooding in the basement. The impacted area is in southwest Detroit, and the timeline to repair the 54-inch water main is not yet known. 83 families are currently staying in hotels. Detroit is extending access to overnight and daytime warming shelters through 9 a.m. on Friday due to this week's continuing cold snap. The Pope Francis Center will continue to offer emergency shelter, blankets, meals, bathrooms, and showers. And the Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries is also offering overnight shelter. And Hamtramck Mayor Amer Ghalib is announcing he's running for re-election. Ghalib says he spoke with President Trump this week about issues related to the Middle East, and the president supports his bid for a second term. No challengers have announced their candidacy as of yet. This is Michigan Mornings from Ave Maria Radio. Now this.
Teresa Tomeo.
Every time I go to Mass and see my husband serving on the altar as a deacon, it hits me how, with God, all things are possible. I mean, there is no way that we should be still married, number one, based on all the problems we had. But number two, the fact that I'm in Catholic media and my husband is a deacon is simply a testimony to the power of God and the teachings of the church that saved our marriage and, more importantly, our souls.
Catholic Connection is coming up today at 8 a.m. on Ave Maria Radio. We have a chance of flurries this morning in Detroit. Our high will be 23 with mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, the clouds stick around and our low will drop to 13. Tomorrow warms up just a tad. We'll have partly sunny skies with a high near 28. Saturday will be mostly sunny with a high near 28, and we'll crack the freezing temperature mark on Sunday. Mostly cloudy skies with temperatures around 34. In Saginaw today, we can expect mostly cloudy skies with a high near 22. Tonight, the clouds stick around and we'll have a low around 10. Tomorrow will be partly sunny and slightly warmer with a high near 28. Saturday will be partly sunny with a high around 27. And we'll crack the freezing temperature on Sunday. It'll be mostly cloudy with temperatures around 34. Welcome back to Michigan Mornings. I'm Matthew Handley. Loving and caring for parents as they age can mean difficult conversations. Elizabeth called Dr. Ray on The Doctor Is In to ask how she can help convince her parents it is time to move into assisted living. Here's his advice.
Unless you have power of attorney, they're declared incompetent, you can't make them. And you can try to persuade, and you're sometimes forced into waiting for something bad to happen. You know, a fall, and then going to the hospital, and then from the hospital going to assisted living. If all of you go, you might have a little more persuasive power. An alternative between now and assisted living, or even clinical care, is in-home help. You know, everybody takes 2 hours. I can go Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 3. When can you go? And that kind of thing. Or we can bring in some support systems. You can do that. It's expensive. But when they're saying, no, we're not leaving our home, and they don't have enough insight to say, I can't do this anymore, I'm risking a whole lot of stuff. Sometimes what you run into is they say, well, I may be risking it, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I would die if you took me out of here. I don't know if that's what they're saying. Do as much as you can to kind of supervise them, visit, whatever, keep an eye out. I mean, we had that situation with my mother-in-law. Long before she should have moved out, she stayed in her home until finally she started wandering. Okay, then the family was of one mind. A lot of times you don't have families of one mind on doing something like this. So I think it's going to be a step process.
You can get family advice like that every day at 1 p.m. on The Doctor Is In, right here on Ave Maria Radio. St. Ambrose says we must always meditate on God's wisdom, keeping it in our hearts and on our lips. Your tongue must speak justice. The law of God must be in your heart. I'm Matthew Handley. That does it for this edition of Michigan Mornings on a Thursday. Lord willing, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.